So for this week's video, I wanted to talk about how I do groceries on a budget. So how I try to eat healthy and high protein, but not spend all of my money. So we're gonna go straight away into the most common food that people buy whenever they want to eat high protein, which is chicken. You have chicken thighs, chicken breasts, chicken drumsticks. What I try to is buy the chicken whole because it's cheaper than if you buy it already cut. But if you don't have enough time and it's gonna be a hassle for you to cut that chicken, buy it already cut, you know? Whatever makes your life like easier and it's gonna end up with you actually eating your food and getting enough nutrients and proteins for the day, that's great. So if that's buying it already cut for you, perfectly fine. But what I like to do is I get the whole breasts and then I get freezing bags and I get my scale and I cut with scissors because it's the easier way for me to do it. And I cut the chicken breast into the freeze bag on top of my scale until I get 220 grams, which is 2 servings of 110 grams of chicken. I think that's around 30 grams of protein, I believe. So whenever I cook both servings. So if I'm cooking dinner, I already have lunch for the next day. So that's what I like to do for the meal prepping. I don't like to meal prep for the whole week, but maybe for like the next day. That's what I like to do. So what I do when I'm buying the chicken is I check the price by weight. Don't just check the price that the individual box has. So here it says, I don't know, like 6 euros for the kilogram. I'm not buying a kilogram, but compare it with other stores that you have nearby, and whichever is the lowest price, you should probably buy that one. But only if you like the quality of that chicken. If you don't like it and you're not gonna eat it, then don't buy it. Then I like to check if specific items are on sale. So for example, I know that in my Aldi, they have sales for salmon. So I buy it when it's on sale. Oh, buying prepared foods for like time efficiency. I like doing that with some chicken and spinach burger patties that they sell in Aldi. I like them, I like the flavor, and it's really easy for me to just freeze, unfreeze, cook. And also minced lean beef or chicken. Another thing good for the budget is to buy only what you will actually eat, because I have done that a lot with buying veggies and fruits that I don't like. If I don't like them, I'm not gonna eat them. Like I might try to force myself, but in the long run, I'm not gonna eat them. Another thing that I like to do is checking the high protein snacks, because most of the time, you know, brands just put a label on top of shit and say like, oh, this is high protein. It's not. So whenever I check for those, for example, I like to buy these chocolate puddings from Aldi. They say high protein, but I actually check they are. This is how you can check it. So you grab 2 values, the proteins and the calories for the serving size. So in this example with my pudding, it has 20 grams of protein per serving size, which is the whole pudding, and then 160 calories. So what you do with the calorie number is that you slash the third number, you slash the 0, and if the protein value, which is 20, is bigger than the number that you're left with in the calories, 16, in this case, it was actually high protein. If the number is lower, it's not that high protein, you know. You don't have to do this with most of the things. For example, I like to buy these high protein bread, but of course bread is mostly carbs, so it's not gonna be a super high protein bread, you know. The number of proteins is not gonna be higher than the new number of the calories. It's never gonna happen, it's a carb. Another thing that I like to buy is no fat milk or skim milk, I think that's what it's called. But I've been lately buying oat milk. So if you're lactose intolerant or vegan or you care about the environment, maybe buy oat milk over almond milk. Oat milk is way better. Eggs, they are normally relatively cheap and high in protein. And if in your Aldi or wherever you do groceries, they have egg whites. Sometimes they sell them in like cartons or something like that. That's very high protein. In my location, they do not sell egg whites, but if they did, I would probably buy them. They're really good also for like recipes if you want to do like protein pancakes without protein powder or stuff like that. I like to buy most of my veggies frozen. Some of them I do like them fresh, but some of my veggies I buy them frozen in those like frozen packages. They already come chopped and just ready for cooking. So I add them on my chicken wraps, you know, chicken tortillas and then veggies, that's it. And it adds flavor, micronutrients without me having to buy a bunch of veggies and chop them and then leave some to rot because I totally forgot that I had them. Aldi also sells gyozas, and they're a really great high protein option for when you're like too tired to cook an entire meal. It happens to everyone. Sometimes you don't feel like cooking, but eating is so important, so I buy those for those nights when I'm too tired. And I cook them in water, so I boil them and I put in a bowl some water, a little Maggi cube, soy sauce, and then I put the cooked gyozas in the water. It's great. Most of my carbs, I buy them in bulk, so like oats, pasta, potatoes. That's how you get cheaper carbs. And I like to get cheap protein powder whenever I can to boost some of my meals in which it's harder for me to make them high protein, like for example breakfast, because I'm not eating chicken for breakfast, so I put in my oats some protein powder. So this week that I went to get some groceries, the total for my groceries was 30 euros, mainly because I already had some stuff at home, so I just had to buy very specific things, proteins mainly. Some weeks it can get up to 60 euros if I have to buy protein powder and Greek yogurt that week. Greek yogurt is very expensive here and you don't find it everywhere. It's in very specific stores. I don't know why. There's like some Greek styled yogurts, but they're not high in protein or low in fats, so I don't buy those. I buy the Greek yogurts. I think the brand is like Vage. I don't know how you pronounce that, but yeah. I can only find those in El Corte Inglés or Supercore, unfortunately. So you should probably check multiple stores that you have nearby to try to get the best deal possible, checking and comparing prices from multiple stores and really buying foods that you enjoy, finding healthy recipes that you're actually going to like and eat. And so yeah, those were my tips. I hope this was helpful. And if you have some tips, leave them in the comments for other people to like also learn something new. Maybe I can learn something new. Bye. I totally forgot about my coffee and now it's cold. It's really cold.